A roll call.
Present. Board Member Harrow? Present. Board Member Ibarra?
Present.
Board Member Flores?
Present. Thank you, Mrs. Medina. We'll begin today's meeting as we do every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I would like to ask our Vice President, Joanne Thoring Ojeda, if she can lead us in the flag salute.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Sounds like an elementary school, right? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Vice President Ojeda, for that. Okay, we do have an interpreter present who is available for Spanish-speaking persons who may need assistance, and I would like to invite Ara Velador up.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Ada Velador y seré la intérprete esta noche. Estaré ubicada en la parte trasera de la sala. Gracias.
Thank you, Ms. Velador. Okay. Item 1.3, adoption of September 1st, 2022 agenda. I need a motion to adopt the agenda with the following amendments. The addition of action item 6.1, resolution number 2311, emergency resolution to approve entering into contracts to repair and remediate water damage to the gym floor at Grand Terrace High School. Withdraw action item 6.13, approval of amended Think Together Memorandum of Understanding to provide intercession at 9 elementary school sites, 2022-23. Amend closed session item 10.2, personnel public employee, appointment, discipline, dismissal release. Addition of one certificated coach, head varsity tennis girls. The addition of 4 classified coaches, varsity cross-country assistant co-ed, Pep Squad Director Assistant Co-ed, Junior Varsity Football Assistant Boys, Varsity Football Assistant Boys. The addition of 5 volunteer coaches, Basketball Girls, Cheer Co-ed 2, Soccer Girls, Football Boys, and the addition of 4 volunteers. I need a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Nay. On motion by Board Member Harrow and Board Member Fuentes, the board adopted the agenda as recommended. We have special presentations tonight. We have the introduction of new management. I would like to invite Assistant Superintendent Dade to introduce the new members of our management team.
Good evening, Board President Flores, board members, Superintendent Dr. Miranda, and members of the audience here and at home. It is my pleasure to introduce our new management team members, and I'd like to first start with our new assistant principal at Bloomington High School, Ebony Irwin Gardner. Ebony comes to us with a variety of skills, not only being a teacher, but having leadership roles in PBIS. She led the Saturday school as a coordinator program. She was an IEP support provider. And one of the things that Ebony shared with me, that's a fun fact, and we have something in common with me going to school in Montana, I would go for hikes and just get lost and be one with wilderness. I know that might be strange, but it's very soothing and whatnot. But also, Ebony likes to do the same. So she likes to get lost in the mountains with her German shepherds. And so Ebony would like to address the board. And congratulations, Ebony.
Good evening, Board President and all the distinguished members of the board and all the dignitaries in the room. It's such a pleasure to be here. I was telling the hiring committee, the people who were on my second panel, that I am a product of Colton Joint Unified School District. My parents live around the corner from McKinley Elementary. They still live there to this day. Both myself and all of my siblings went through this school district. My sister's in education. I had a brother get a full ride scholarship from Colton High School. Another brother's in entertainment. So the point is that it is a pleasure to be home in a sense and to serve the district and the community that has served my family so well. So thank you so much for the opportunity, and I look forward to getting to work. I'd also like to take the moment to say thank you to my parents who are in the room, and my daughter Peyton, and my son. He's 16, he's working, so he couldn't be here. We're just glad he's working, right? Yes. No, you don't come, you go work. You let me do this. So again, thank you all, and I look forward to working with you all.
Can they stand so we can see them?
Yes, please stand.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. One more round of applause for Ebony, please. And Ebony, we're going to have to teach them how to go on hikes. These are California people. They don't understand how therapeutic a hike is here, but we'll do that. So, all right. Next, I have the pleasure of introducing our new assistant principal of Grand Terrace High School, Sebastian Parache. Sebastian, once again, we were able to convince Sebastian to join the CJUSD family, and he comes with multiple skills and talents. He was a head coach for cross country and track. He led the PBIS committee, ELD committee, and a fun fact, which me and Sebastian will have to battle over this, who's the fastest, but he can solve a Rubik's Cube in under 1 minute. And this other talent that I can't really work with you on this one, but he sings opera. And so he's going to give us a rendition of it. No, I'm joking. I'm just joking. But I'd like to give Sebastian an opportunity to address the board.
Dignitaries of the board and administration from Colton, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity to serve the community of Grand Terrace. I actually worked as a sub at Grand Terrace when it was a brand new school many years ago while I was working on my credentials. So it's kind of nice to kind of return back in a different capacity. And I look forward to serving, and I'm excited to get to work. I'd like to thank my family for supporting me. As some of you may know, both my parents are educators, and they got me into this field. They paved the way for me to find work and joy in this field. So my mom, my dad, and my wonderful wife, and my two lovely children, Stelian, who's just turned a year, and Kevin, who's turning 4, if they can please stand up so everyone can see my support crew. And I'm excited to get to work once Redlands wants to release me, right?
One more round of applause for Sebastian, please. All right, and next, I'd like to introduce our new assistant principal for Grant Elementary, Janine Lacano. So Janine comes with a wonderful background as well from Central School District. She's helped lead school site council. She was a union representative, induction coach. She's a special education lead. And Janine's fun fact, which Janine shouldn't have shared this with me because we need bus drivers right now, but Janine's first job was a bus driver for UC Irvine. And so I can't compete with that. I know we got to sign her up, right? But Janine, I drive a bus too, but it's a Volkswagen 1977 bus. Can't drive it in this heat though, so. But ultimately, we're so excited to have Janine. Her district has really shared with us that they will miss her. And so once again, their loss, but our gain. And so here's Janine.
Good evening, Board and Cabinet. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Actually, my experience is in driving Eldorados and Bluebirds, so maybe if you have one of those around. I'm just kidding. My license did expire, did not renew it. But it's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to serving your community. I love education. I come from a family of service, from our ministries within our church and to our school site and the community, whether it be in Girl Scouts or actually on our school campus. So I look forward to serving the Colton community and district. Thank you for having me. Oh, my family, right? The people, my parents have been married for 41 years, August 1st. My mom and dad, and then also my friend and fellow teacher colleague from Central, Megan Morris. She's here to support as well. Thank you.
And one more round of applause for Janine, please. All right. All right, last but not least, our new assistant principal for Wilson Elementary, Reginald Thomas Jr. So Reginald, his coworkers and friends call him Tony. So we'll call him Tony Thomas Jr. I don't know if you want the junior on there, but sounds awesome. But Tony comes with a wonderful background as well. A former program specialist, a teacher in Fontana Unified, instructional specialist, instructional coach, and assistant principal as of late at Victor Elementary School District. Tony doesn't know this, but as we did his reference checks, all I kept hearing was no, no, and that's always a good sign. But we're really excited to have Tony join us as well. And Tony's fun fact, and we have a lot in common. He's a big kid, and so we exchanged where you can get the best Slurpee from and all of that. And he's really into sports as well. But I would like to give Tony an opportunity to address the board.
Good evening, Board, Cabinet. It's going to be hard for me to follow with all the other amazing new management. I'm really excited to be here. My wife and brother-in-law, they lived in Colton and Grand Terrace their whole lives. They went to school, so I'm really familiar with the district. I come from a family of educators as well. Unfortunately, my wife is taking care of our two girls who are sick right now, so they weren't able to come. So maybe next time. So sorry they're not here, but so excited to start this new journey. So thank you very much.
And one more round of applause, please, for Tony. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the introductions. We're very, very happy to have our new members and welcome to our Colton family. 3.0 School Showcase, item 3.1, Washington High School. I would like to invite Principal Torres to introduce Washington High School students to present.
Good evening, Board President Flores, board members, Superintendent Dr. Miranda, and members of the audience. Sandy Torres, Principal of Washington High School. At this time, I'd like to introduce our two student representatives, Jazz Benitez and Mariah Quintor.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Benitez. I'm a 10th grade student at Washington High School.
Hi, I'm Mariah Quintor. I am a 10th grader student at Washington High School.
Good evening, Board President Flores, board members, Superintendent Miranda, Executive Cabinet, and members of the audience. Thank you for the opportunity to share some stuff we're doing at Washington High School this semester. Next slide, please.
In addition to welcoming back independent studies to our campus, we should also like to welcome Ms. Z and Mr. McKinley as our new social science and science teachers. Next slide, please. Last Friday, we celebrated Women's Equality Day in honor of addition of the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Allowing the citizens the right to vote regardless of their sex, we learned our feminist icons and their fight for women's equality day. And then we played games, wrote thank you cards to our female staff, and had snacks. Next slide, please. On September 15th, we'll be taking our annual field trip to San Bernardino Valley College. And all high school opportunity students and high school independent study students are invited to tour the campus. We will learn about the courses they offer and the career choices. In addition, our independent study senior students have an upcoming presentation on September 28th. An admission counselor would be sharing information about Oak Valley College. Next slide, please. Each month, we have a bulletin board contest where we all elective classes compete for a pizza party. Our first theme of the school year is Hispanic Heritage. Bulletin boards will be displayed in the office September 9th. Next slide, please.
Last night we hosted our annual open house. Mr. Torres began the night with a brief Title I meeting, and then students and guardians were welcome to visit each classroom and showcase some of the work we've already done. Next slide, please. Next month, we will be kicking off our PBIS. All students will review expectations around campus, and there will be a raffle, music, and snacks during lunch. Please open the link for the school-wide matrix. Last year, we held our student forum and worked together to come up with these school-wide expectations for the various locations at or associated with our school. Next slide, please. Right now, our leadership class is working hard to finish our first issue of the Washington newsletter of this school year. We have also planned our first read aloud to our neighbors at San Salvador. Before we conclude our presentation, we would like to give a thank you to two teachers who have greatly impacted our life. Our geometry and leadership teacher, Ms. Waller, and our English and leadership teacher, Ms. Guillen. There's that right there. And last slide, please. Thank you for letting us share this presentation with you. Do you have any questions for us?
Okay, while we're doing that, can you introduce your teachers again? Are they here tonight?
Yes, ma'am. It's going to be Ms. Waller, our math teacher, our geometry teacher, and our English teacher, Ms. Guillen.
Okay. Well, thank you, teachers, for all you do. Absolutely. You want to go first, Ms. Howard?
Sure. I want to thank you for your presentation while he's trying to bring that up so we can see it. It's a very difficult thing to get up and talk in front of people. In fact, it's the number one fear people have is getting up and talking in front of people. And I just want to congratulate both of you for getting up and doing this presentation because you did a great job. And I know it wasn't easy for you. So thank you for bringing us what's happening at Washington High School.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Fuentes.
Yes, I want to kind of ditto what Board Member Harrell said. You guys did a great job. Like, you know, it's not easy to go up there and speak in front of an audience like this, especially us, the board members. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. We won't bite. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But you ladies did a great job. Can I get the grades? What grade are you guys in right now?
10th grade.
10th grade, both of you? Right on, right on. You guys thinking of going to college?
I plan to continue my studies at Middle College, located right next to Valley College in Colton.
Right on. How about you, Mija?
Yeah, I think of going to college.
That's great. I love when you guys have a plan. That's great to hear. Let's give them a hand. Let's give them a hand again. I think they deserve that. Yes, yes. Mr. Torres, thank you very much. You're an excellent principal out there. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies.
Board Member Thorning Ojeda?
Yes. I also wanted to tell you, thank you so much for your presentation. I remember when I was in high school, as a senior, I can't imagine having done this, come to a board meeting and talk to all these grownups and not be scared to death. In fact, when I went to college in California, I decided I better do my speech class first because I have to graduate with the one. And if I don't do it now, it may not happen. So what I wanted to say to you, ask you is, when I was in school, I never got to go visit a college. We didn't do that in school. How do you feel about your field trip? Are you excited about that? Or is it, it's the school, sounds like one of you is going there at least when you get out of school. Is that exciting to you? Or how do you feel about being able to do that at school?
I'm excited to get to learn about all the opportunities I'm gonna be offered my 11th grade and my 12th grade year. So I'm really excited to be able
great.
to ask questions.
Thank you. I hope it's a great, great experience for you.
Thank you.
You have to come back and tell us about it.
I actually was going to be choosing Slover High School for my 11th grade year, so I could graduate my junior year, but I plan on going to college. That's why I'm continuing my studies at middle college, so I could graduate with my AA after high school.
Good for you. You've got some great goals. Good for you. Very good. I wish you the very best. I know you're going to do it. You're welcome. And same to you. I can't remember her name.
Okay, I believe we have the matrix up.
So last year we actually the staff and the students got together and they worked on the matrix. So everything you see there was put together with staff and students.
And we also added the expectation for resilience. So we know that students need to be resilient and overcome obstacles that they face. So.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you so much for the excellent presentation. Thank you. Item 4.1, public comments. I'm sorry.
Yes. Good job. Great. Very good. Yes.
Item 4.1, public comment. Board Bylaw 9323 states that individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 15 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. At this time, I would like to invite Caitlin Town up to the podium.
Sorry, I'm a math teacher. I don't write stuff. Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Caitlin Town, and I'm a math teacher at Joe Baca Middle School. I'm actually here in response to something that the board president, Ms. Flores, said last meeting about TOAs and CPSs. She asked that those positions are not to be used for subbing as much as they were last year because they are experts in their fields and that their time is so valuable. And asking them to sub, it will negatively affect the way that they do their jobs, which will in turn negatively affect student learning. I completely agree with this statement, but believe that it left out a very important message because in fact, all teachers are experts and all of our time is valuable to ensure that students are receiving the highest quality education possible. The subbing shortage is causing immense issues across our district, causing teachers to lose their valuable lesson planning time to set up labs, projects, and not to mention missing important collaboration time with our colleagues, including time to meet with counselors and RSP staff about students who need extra support. All of these things are necessary in order for us to deliver high quality instruction to our students. I personally am averaging having to sub every other day on my prep which means that on a good week, I quote, only lose 2 days of my prep. Some of my colleagues have had to sub 4 days in a row. This week, we have progress reports due, yet another task we are supposed to have time to do on our prep periods, and instead are forced to find time during our personal time to complete. The amount of burnout this is causing is staggering. We need to ensure that we can do our jobs to the best of our ability. A sub in Rialto district, for example, makes $30 more a day than our district. That's $150 more a week, or $600 more a month. We need to be more competitive with our sub salaries, or we will not only continue to lose subs, but we will also begin to lose teachers. A teacher's job is stressful enough as it is, and it takes so much work and effort to effectively plan, grade, prepare materials, and have the mental capacity and emotional thrive to manage a classroom, taking away our valuable time by continuously asking us to sub on our prep and not knowing if we're going to be asked to sub that day is really overwhelming and leaves many of us asking, when will it become too much to handle? Please raise subs daily rate to what surrounding districts pay. Please show your teachers that you live by the motto CJUSD cares. Thank you.
Ana Carlos.
Hello, my name is Ana Carlos. I'm a parent of 3 CJUSD children. And the first time I actually came and spoke before you was when this little guy was only a couple months old. And 5 years later, here I am on the same topic regarding the Bloomington Business Park project. The community has been fighting this for, like I said, a little over 5 years now. And the community's hard work is finally coming to a close because the Planning Commission is set to hear this project before them on September 22nd. And I'm just here, like I was 5 years ago, just asking for the district's help and continued support to please write a letter, show up there, speak against this, just like we have been for 5 years. I ask for any teachers in the audience, administration in the audience to also write a comment letter. If that's the best we can do, then let's at least try. It's been a couple of community organizations just informing the community how to go about this, where to send the email to. And a lot of people don't know about this, but it's 213 acres between Zimmerman Elementary all the way to Ruth O. Harris that they want to replace. It's all residential homes right now, and they actually want to replace that with 3.2 million square feet of warehouses. So it's basically wiping out an entire community. So Zimmerman Elementary, it's going to touch the boundaries of Bloomington High School, and like I said, all the way to the backyards of residents. The district's going to lose enrollment. It has to happen. The district will lose 213 acres of children. So I'm asking you again, I spoke to Erin Ling at the county. The agenda's not out yet, but it's supposed to go before the Planning Commission. And there, we don't know how soon, but we're thinking by the end of this year, it'll go before the Board of Supervisors. And just asking you again, I know that the sale of Zimmerman Elementary is only dependent on if this Bloomington Business Park specific plan goes through. So I think it will show a lot to the community that you still say, yes, we signed this over to Howard Industrial, but if there's a way we can stop it, we prefer for it not to go through. That's what me as a parent want to see you, the board, and the superintendent do for the community, for our children. And we'll have more information on our website. It's called Concerned Neighbors of Bloomington, and it's just parents, teachers, and community members against this massive project. Thank you.
Gary Grosick.
Good evening, Board President, Superintendent. Gary Grosich, I'm Vice Chair of the Bloomington Municipal Advisory Council. I also chair the Measure G Bond Oversight Committee for the district. First of all, I'd like to thank the superintendent and all the board members for coming to the recent grand opening of our brand new Ayala Park. So exciting to have something like that here in the community. So thank you for those that attended. It was a great day. I'd also like to invite everyone to our next Bloomington MAC meeting, which is also held at the new Ayala Park. It's going to be next Wednesday, September 7th, 6 p.m. Wanted to let the board know we have some exciting new projects coming to Bloomington. There's a 5-story Wyndham Gardens Hotel slated to come on Valley Boulevard in the future. And something I'm really excited about, a 154-unit gated condo community in Bloomington, which is going to bring new families, existing families here, keep them here in Bloomington, and also going to bring more students to Colton Joint Unified School District. So very exciting on that. On a different note, my business, Nickelodeon Pizza in Colton, will be hosting a fundraiser for the Colton football boosters on Tuesday, September 20th from 5 to 9. We're normally closed on Tuesday, but we're going to open especially to host that event. So if you guys want to come out on Tuesday the 20th, 20% of any of the food that's ordered regular price is going to go right directly to Colton football boosters. And last but not least, for us old people, my class that I graduated, Colton 1972, is having our 50-year reunion this month on September 24th. So I don't know, maybe somebody can post that around the school or something. And we're still open for attendees. So hopefully we're going to have a great evening. It's going to be held in Riverside. So if anybody needs information, they're welcome to get a hold of me, or we do have a couple different pages on Facebook where you can get information and join the fun for that evening. So with that, I thank you and appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our public comments for tonight. Moving on to 5.0 administrative presentations. The first one is item 5.1, Transforming Bloomington Schools Business Service Division. I would like to invite Assistant Superintendent Dagnault and Director Chang to present.
Good evening. We have, Owen, go ahead. Owen Chang, Director of Facilities, and then we have Terry Towle and Jeremy Burst.
Good evening, Board President, Superintendent, board members, members of the public. Tonight we have a presentation talk about the future plan for Zimmerman Elementary. So I'd like to turn it over to Terry Tell with Tal Rossini and Jeremy Brust.
Thank you. I look at this more as something that's developed over the course of well over 2 years. This Board of Education has been looking at the development that's been going on in Bloomington, how the area has completely changed, and the results of those change. The Bloomington Business Park is a project that has been on the district's radar since September of 2020. So over that period of time, we've had many discussions in closed session about exactly what to do, what's going to happen, and how the board is going to be addressing the issues that come from this kind of boom of warehouse development that's been going on in the area. So this presentation is historical in some respects of what it is that the board talked about and thought about as it was being presented by council to the board. So if we could hit the first slide. So this is the agenda. It's addressing the struggle with future development and how the school district fits into it. Remember, the school district is not a city, it's not a county, it's not the Bloomington MAC. Its role is to ensure the proper education of students. And I know many times the district has been viewed as being a champion in other areas, and the district has gone out of its way to try to do what's right for the students, which sometimes also coincides with what it is that's right for the community in general, because generally what's good for the students is good for the community in general. So there has been a lot of intervention and work with regard to the California Environmental Quality Act. There is an anticipation with some of the development that's going on that we are likely to do work at the 28-acre site that the district has had for a number of years. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's going to happen with regard to Bloomington Business Park and our intervention with regard to Bloomington Business Park and what's going to happen to that school that's right next door that was just mentioned, Zimmerman. So if we could hit the next slide. So this is a video from the LA Times. We've taken parts of it because we think that this is the most relevant piece. So if we could hit the button, please.
This is an aerial view of Jurupa Hills High School in Fontana, San Bernardino County in 2011, 10 years ago. And this is the neighborhood today. More than 20 warehouses now sit within a mile of the school, and there are plans to build more. Fontana has been called California's epicenter of warehouses. There are more than 50 of them, including centers for UPS and Amazon that take up more than 16 million square feet throughout the city. That's like 4.5 Disneylands. Their existence helps make it possible for us to buy something online and have it arrive at our door within hours. But all these mega warehouses come at a cost.
We're seeing thousands of trucks per day. Because they're right next to homes, it just spews all of these toxins right into your backyard.
The warehouses are getting very close to our communities and our schools. We have our students surrounded with warehouses.
In the last decade, the Inland Empire has become a national logistics hub, due in part to the abundance of cheap land and its proximity to two major ports.
A lot of those imports, they get unloaded at the ports of Long Beach and LA, and they go through LA into Riverside and San Bernardino, and then from here, either through trucks or through freight, are pushed out to the rest of the country.
For the city of Fontana, that has meant the building of dozens of warehouses, often backing right up to residential areas and schools.
So you can hit the next button. So the reason why we brought this up was we felt that that video actually does a very good job of describing what the situation is, and that is just a little ways that direction. Is the particular high school that they're talking about. So after the area of Fontana was largely developed out as warehouses, the warehouses have continued to move to where we are now. So there was, with regard to the Fontana school, a intervention by the California Attorney General. That's what this piece of the presentation is on. So.
The project caught the attention of California's Attorney General, whose Environmental Justice Bureau filed a lawsuit against the city of Fontana in July, challenging the project.
There have been multiple warehouses already built near this community that was impacted, and there's two public high schools here. And so when the Sloban Oleander Warehouse project was proposed, and it was expected to add a really high pollution burden, approximately 114 daily truck trips, 272 daily passenger car trips, we got involved.
The more traffic that we have, the longer those trucks idle while they're sitting in traffic. And so it spirals. It's the traffic that then contributes to the air pollution.
The surrounding neighborhood is already more polluted than 97% of the census tracts in the state.
All right, next slide, please. So I wanted to give everybody an idea of just the magnitude of the problem that we're facing here with regard to Colton Joint Unified School District. We know about the warehouses in Fontana. That is just to the west. But just the planned development in this area actually shows quite well with regard to this map. So if we could hit the button, we're going to go through some of these. All right, so this is where our schools are located. Next button. So the Amazon warehouse is first, next. Then the Pacific Industrial, next. Truck terminal, next. Alder Avenue Industrial. Alder Warehouse at Slover. The Arco AM/PM. The Western States Engineering gas station. We have another warehouse at Slover, another High Cube warehouse, and another one. Cedar Avenue Technology, another trucking development, NWC at Cedar, and then there's Bloomington Business Park, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Next item. This Bloomington Center project I'm going to talk about very quickly, and we're going to talk a little bit about it in a little while. This was one of the earlier projects that we intervened in because of the lack of consideration of both the 28-acre site as well as Zimmerman and Crestmore. So we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Next item. The Duke Realty Cedar Truck Terminal, West Valley Logistics Center. That's a very, very large project. And we're also dealing with that project too right now. Lilac Avenue Warehouse and Rialto Logistics. I think that's it for the slides. But that kind of gives you an idea of just how much is planned over the next couple of years just in the Bloomington area. Most of this has not been built yet. So when you go out to Bloomington, what you see is what you've always seen before in the past. But come 2, 3, 4 years from now, that's what you're going to see. And this is all slated development that's planned, that we've received environmental impact reports for, or some sort of notice that these projects are planned in those neighborhoods. These properties are already purchased. These developers are ready to go. They've already submitted plans. They're already actively working with the county to start putting these together, or the respective cities. Next item. All right, this is another map that shows those projects listed out. There are a couple of more projects on there, but we did the outline for Bloomington Business Park so you could see what it was. Next item. So this is the California air quality map for the area from Cal EPA. Red is not good. This is for the entire area. So this is what's called a non-attainment area in Southern California, which means generally the air quality here is not good. It doesn't mean that one warehouse or one particular development is going to so exasperate to push you over the edge. You're already in the red area. So I wanted to show that to you because I think that what it does is it demonstrates that the area already has an air quality problem that needs to be improved. And these warehouses and the various developments are actually not helping the overall air quality of the district and the way the students are being educated because they're already in an area that has some issues. Next slide. So these are all the projects that the district staff has issued comment letters saying that there's some effect on a Colton, especially a Bloomington related school. And the list is nearly every project that you saw on the list that we put up just a couple of minutes ago, so that it's clear that the district has been actively pursuing any effect that would have any problems caused to a student at any school at the district. So next item. So this is actually a map showing the different developments again. but we thought that this is a better map because everything's a little bit smaller. But over in the left-hand corner, that big block, that is the West Valley Logistics Center. So it's of similar size to the Bloomington Business Park, about 3 million acres. So a lot of that traffic has to filter up to the 10 freeway. So that will have an effect on all the schools within the Bloomington area because all this traffic has to make it between the warehouses and the 10 freeway. Next slide. So the Chandi project at the corner of Cedar and Santa Ana, we found out in September 2020, and we started to work with the project because of the environmental effects that it would cause on kids. Next slide. So this was actually the project. It's at the corner. It's the one on the left, and the 28 acres for the district is on the right and surrounding. Next slide. This was the project that was submitted. You'll see that it involved quite a few truck stalls. It was essentially going to be a truck stop, and the district ended up intervening with this project. Next slide. So these were the key issues that we identified that were issues, and the district, through staff, sent comment letters addressing the specific environmental problems that would be encountered with regard to the building of this project. Next slide. We noted that there was an incorrect response on how schools were handled. If you could hit the button. Yeah, go ahead and hit the button. It required identification of any school within a quarter of a mile of the project, and they didn't identify any schools, even though there was not only the 28 acres, but also Zimmerman and Crestmore were all within a quarter of an acre. Next slide. Hit the button again. This was the write-up. It basically didn't identify the school. It actually identified a school that's not in the area, and it didn't consider Colton Joint Unified School District at all. Next item. This was the objection letter that the district sent. Next slide. And this is the timeline of what happened with Chandi. With all of these projects, there's a very similar timeline. Most of this discussion happens in closed session. And the reason it happens in closed session is because council, that would be Jeremy and myself, are advising staff and advising the board of what the impacts are in the schools, what the impacts are to students, whether there's any risk, and if there's any mitigation that's necessary in order to mitigate that risk. Sometimes we actually have to discuss whether or not we need to commence litigation, which is all handled in closed session because of the severity of it, the sensitivity of commencing litigation with essentially one of your neighbors, and trying to decide whether or not this is something that we actually want to do. So the Board of Education has gone out of their way to be careful and thoughtful with regard to anything that could cause any level of harm to students. And I believe that the board has been very, very good stewards with regard to these various projects. Next slide. So an objection was made with regard to Chandi to the County Board of Supervisors at their meeting. Next slide.
In response to the notice of availability, staff received comments from California Department of Fish and Wildlife and the Colton Joint Unified School District.
So
no new significant environmental impact.
Okay, so the reason why I put that clip from the County Board of Supervisors is I've heard a lot of criticism of the Board of Education that the environmental groups are not being, that the environmental groups expect the district to carry essentially the water in order to object to these projects. With regard to the Shandy project, there were only two objections. It was the Fish and Game and the Colton Joint Unified School Districts. Those were the only two objection letters that were filed with regard to that project. So that kind of gives you an idea of how active the district is in trying to protect the rights of kids. Next slide. So
Project proposal by Chandi Enterprises with a zoning amendment from single residential 1 acre minimum to general commercial on 8.9 acres. A conditional use permit for a commercial retail center to include 7 pump truck fueling, 8 pump auto fueling, a 9,900 square foot convenience store, and 2 quick serve drive-through restaurants. The project also includes tentative parcel map 20192 to subdivide the subject parcel into 4 parcels.
all right, next slide.
Project proposal by Chandi Enterprises with a zoning amendment from single residential 1 acre minimum to general commercial on 8.9
This one.
acres.
There. So this is Dr. Miranda's comment. And the reason why I wanted people to see Dr. Miranda's comment is because he did the best that he possibly could. As the superintendent of schools, typically when a superintendent shows up to a city, county, and has a problem with something, they will give him extra time. They will give him time so that he can talk about what it is that's important to the school district and not limit him to the public comment period of only 3 minutes. We asked to be put on the agenda. We were not put on the agenda. We asked for more than 3 minutes. We were not given 3 minutes. I actually ceded my time so that Dr. Miranda could have 6 minutes. And Dr. Miranda made comments, and ultimately they did not give him any extra time. So this is Dr. Miranda's comments.
Public schools nearby, or public schools located nearby, rather. Special standards are to be applied when these schools are present or are to be developed. The obvious purpose of such a requirement is to protect the health and well-being of our children, a concern of which I'm sure all of you are aware. So due to the proposed project's increased truck traffic, the district is concerned about possible physical endangerment of students, as well as air quality impacts on students and our staff. Excuse me. Additionally, students would be impacted by hazards related to noise and diesel tanks located above ground. The district feels that it has been more than fair in taking considerable time and making good faith efforts in responding at length to the CEQA document prepared for this project. We feel that what is needed now is for the project proponent to prepare an adequate.
That's time.
I guess, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your comments, Arthur.
All right, so no courtesy given to the school district. The County Board of Supervisors just rolled through and approved the project. So, but it was even better than that. Even the Bloomington MAC had objected to the project. So there were several objections. I put in Gary Grosich, who you just saw. I put his comments in here. So if we could hit the next button.
Afternoon, Gary Grosich, Bloomington MAC Vice Chair, Colton Planning Commissioner, and 43-year resident of Bloomington. This is my third time speaking before the board regarding community opposition to this project. First, I'll say this project has not been vetted out properly. You're giving the developer a blank check to open one of the largest truck stops in the area with virtually no conditions placed on the project. No one has ever actually seen the floor plan of what's in the convenience store. And what about the hours of operation? No one's even asked. Is this 24 hours? We don't know. Instead, the county appears to be taking the see no evil, speak no evil, and hear no evil approach while pretending this is not a full-blown truck stop, while all the documents and facts say it is. The 6,410 daily vehicle trips shown in the traffic study are more trips than 6 Bloomington warehouses combined, and yet no significant mitigation? A truck stop belongs on the freeway, not in a neighborhood surrounded on 3 sides by residential zoning. Quite frankly, as a city planning commissioner, I'm embarrassed the way this whole process has been handled. I've sent several of you emails documenting the many concerns of our community, and I could go on for hours about the problems with this project, but I won't belabor those points.
All right, next slide. So this is the response from, there are multiple responses from the County Board of Supervisors, but essentially they were just going to approve the project. So if we could play the excerpt.
My few years, I think with Roger on the state allocation board for the state, the school districts have a lot more property than what they actually build on. So, and then they become assets to liquidize later. So that's why I was wondering if you're already collecting dollars or have.
Uh-oh. Okay, while we're trying to get that slide back up, essentially what happened was the County Board of Supervisors approved the project, did not consider the input from their own Bloomington MAC, and the district ended up filing a lawsuit. And as a result of that lawsuit that ended up being filed, the district was able to get a number of concessions because it was extremely important for the district to protect the kids, not only of the Zimmerman site and the Crestmore site, but also of the 28 acres that the district had owned from long ago. And that ownership from long ago was being deteriorated by the development, and the County Board of Supervisors, Kurt Hagman, what he basically said was, you're never going to build anything on the 28 acres. You are just holding on to that property as an investment. Well, that's exactly what we're planning on doing. We're planning on building on that 28 acres. And that's part of what the discussion is today. Actually, let's go to the next slide after this one. Okay, here's the closing of the hearing.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing and we'll take board recommendation actions there too. I would support Supervisor Baca's request, and I don't know how you put that in, Heidi, for the conditions. I think it is important and in good faith for the residents to have not just a indoor cafeteria type style or fast food type restaurant, but a sit down restaurant. And I think you have the space for it, Mr. Shandi, and I'm hoping that you're able to maybe even substitute one of the drive-throughs or something like that, or have a both. And there's some good quality restaurants that have the ability to do both. And the residents, I know what it's like to not have a decent restaurant in, believe it or not, my hometown, Chino Hills, and we were growing up there before we incorporated. Our number one restaurant in that city for the longest time was Denny's. And then we built all the malls and the shops, and we have some great quality dining facilities there. But it's important, and I think it would be a good effort to try to do that. Secondly, I'm concerned a little. That's all the comments I had. Entertain for a motion one way or the other on this.
So move.
We got a motion to approve all the 1 through 9 recommendations. We got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Can you, Madam Clerk, read the ordinance?
All right, next slide.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing and we'll take board recommendation actions there too. I would support Supervisor Baca's.
There, that's the lawsuit that got filed. So the district, after this happened, it was going to be essentially a full-blown truck stop. And there were going to be above ground fuel tanks, which would make it impossible for the district to ever build on the 28 acres with above ground fuel tanks. That's a prohibition from the California Department of Education. So the district filed a lawsuit against Shandi and against the County Board of Supervisors. One of the things that the district asked for was some sort of methodology to handle future development, because there was so much future development that's planned in the area. So the County Board of Supervisors can have some sort of organized manner so the district does not have to threaten litigation, make comments on environmental reports, and ultimately litigate with people in order to get what's right for the kids. Unfortunately, the County Board of Supervisors refused all offers to try to work things out so that we had an organized manner of handling future problems, which is why with every project, staff has to evaluate environmental impacts, hire consultants to evaluate air quality, traffic, and the other impacts that arise, spend unnecessary dollars to do that, and ultimately file lawsuits in some cases in order to get what's right for the school district. Next slide. So this was what the district actually ended up getting. The truck parking stalls were reduced from 36 to 20, idling reduced to 5 minutes, no overnight parking, 2 hours maximum parking period, no above ground storage tanks, no lounge or shower facilities, buffer zones, air quality buffers, and this settled out. So Shandi's development got reduced to something that would be compatible with a school to be built on the 28 acres. But this just kind of gives you an idea of what it is that the board had to go with. The board would have preferred to not have any development on that intersection that was any sort of gas station, but we had to get what it is that the district could get. And this is the best that the district could get with regard to that Shawnee development. Next slide. So this is a before and after slide, before on the left, after on the right. Next slide. So these were the lessons we learned. We learned that the County Board of Supervisors is pro-development in the Bloomington area, that they believe that they will allow zone changes and general plan amendments fairly easily, despite any opposition that is brought by the school district or perhaps even by the Bloomington MAC. So that's when we started to recognize we need to take a more proactive position with regards to every project. And that's how this all fits together with the Bloomington Business Park. Next slide. So we're seeing already beginning changes. If you could go to the next slide. One of the big problems is this Bloomington Business Park and how its proximity is to the Zimmerman School. So you'll see the Bloomington Business Park is that big block on the lower part of the screen, and Zimmerman is literally against the Bloomington Business Park. So the district knew that this was going to have a drastic effect. The environmental papers that were prepared by the Bloomington Business Park did not show a drastic effect, and the district had to hire their own consultants to figure it out. So over the course of the year and a half, 2 years, we hired environmental consultants, air quality consultants in order to do that evaluation. And it was those documents that we supplied in objection letters and also supplied to the Bloomington Business Park that resulted in where we ended up. Next slide. So what I put these slides up, this is Vera Coker's house. Very famous example. It was the inspiration for the movie Up. And what happened with Vera Coker's house was she ended up having an entire development built around her house because she was hoping for life the way it used to be. Unfortunately, Trump Plaza got built completely around her house, and she was the one holdout. Next slide. This is what ended up happening to that particular house. And this is what we kind of foresee happening to some of the schools with regard to Bloomington, which is why we're beginning to look at different ways of handling things. Next slide. This is the actual house from Up. This is in a different location, similar problem. This is up in Seattle. Next slide. So what we're basically getting to is traffic's going to be different near Zimmerman. Air quality is going to be different. There's going to be large trucks, and that's just not compatible with school children, especially elementary age school children. Next slide. So this is a little bit on the project information. The slide's available. You guys can study it. Next slide. I wanted to show this because this is the air quality analysis that was done by our air quality consultant, and it shows something far different than what was shown by the environmental consultants that the Bloomington Business Park had put together. while it's not that relevant for most everybody else, you'll see that little red block in the right-hand corner, that's Zimmerman. It has a direct effect on Zimmerman School. So we presented this data to Howard and the Bloomington Business Park folks, and that resulted in them considering things drastically different than what it is that perhaps happened with regard to the Fontana case where the Attorney General intervened. Just to review, remember a couple of minutes ago we talked about that Fontana Attorney General intervention? That ultimate settlement in that intervention was $250,000. My understanding is the school district received $50,000 for mitigation measures, and then the rest of the money was distributed for various other purposes. So keep that in mind. That was the settlement that was viewed as a great win by both the environmentalists as well as by the folks over at the school district and the Attorney General. So our situation is drastically different. Next slide. So this is our various comment letters that were submitted. No need to go through them. They're all a matter of public record. You can review the slide. Next slide. So this was the ultimate settlement. The value of the Zimmerman property we had appraised at $12,430,000. The final settlement was roughly $40 million. So $45 million with remediation for air quality. So the end result with regard to our settlement with Howard is we would ultimately build a new school at the 28 acres. And then over time, once the new school is ready, we would take Zimmerman and move it to this other location for the 28 acres. The 28 acres is going to be designed for air quality, to have buffer zones, to handle safety. It'll be something that will be worked on collaboratively with the public so that you get the school that you've wanted and needed so that a good education program can occur there. So the property for Zimmerman will continue to be open until the new school is ready, and then the new school will be moved, then everybody will be moved to the new school. Next slide. So this is information on the new school. I think this will be for Owen to talk about.
Right. So as Terry mentioned, this is the 28-acre site that the district owned in shape of L that was purchased back in 2001 with the intent of building as a future school site for to accommodate growth. A couple of reasons we selected the site. It's a property that we already own, so allow us to maximize the proceeds that we get from the property exchange to invest in a new facility. It's also important for us to continue to find a location that we can continue to serve a community school, a school for the Zimmerman community. So just for kind of orientation purpose, Cedar is along the north edge of the slide, Santa Ana Avenue to the right with large at the bottom. The rectangular section of the school site, which is totals about 17 acres, is what we are looking at for the potential future elementary school. So, in consideration of the surrounding context, impacts such as noise, traffic, air quality, utility connections, staff felt the western edge of the site would be the best location for the new elementary school. Next slide, please. So this slide, working alongside with our master plan architect, we develop a kind of a high level conceptual plan on what the new campus could look like, where buildings, playgrounds, and parking would be best situated to provide the best learning environment. So I do want to emphasize that this is just kind of a high level conceptual design. Once we have the actual architect on board, we will conduct numerous community meetings to get design input from administrators, teachers, parents, students, and other stakeholders. So it'll be truly a collaborative process to design a state-of-the-art school that's fitting and meets the needs of the community, and something that we can all be proud of for the decades to come. Some design concept ideas that's illustrated here are some of the what we call double-loaded corridor, where you get a hallway that's with a classroom flanking on both sides, and that really main purpose is to provide students in an environment that's conditioned and climate control to reduce the amount of exposure to some of the pollutants in the surrounding neighborhood. So we're also going to have high MERV filtration system, natural daylighting, sustainable, healthy building materials. And the buildings also, you can see, configured in a courtyard shape, which creates a barrier, a physical barrier, and against all the like noise and other impacts to create a more protective outdoor learning environment. And we also, you can see there's ample property to provide parking, a safer student drop-off area, as well as a playground. And we're also going to use employee strategies such as landscape, again, to create a barrier, to create a safer zone to buffer against noise and other air pollutants, protect and to provide a better environment for the students. All right, next slide, please. So these are just some of the images that our current education space and design sector, from administration buildings to classroom and multi-purpose buildings, that really provide a sense of what some of those spaces could look like. And there's some really exciting opportunity to provide a fun, engaging, and inspiring environment for our students and staff. Next slide, please. Again, this is a little blow-up aerial photo of what the courtyard space, some of the buildings I mentioned. We're going to look at sustainability with solar energy, natural daylighting, and using the buildings to create a courtyard to shelter students, provide a safer environment for the students. Next slide, please. Also, just another rendering showing the potential the design could look like the main entry of the new Zimmerman Elementary. And next slide, please. And so this concludes our presentation. Open up for any questions?
Questions from the board? No. Okay, Board Member Doreen Ojeda.
We've had so many discussions in closed session, and to see this tonight really helped solidify all of it for me. It was really well done, and I appreciate so much the work you put into this to help us explain to our community that this is the best that we can do if we're put into a situation. So I want to just thank you, all three of you, for all the work you put into this and helping us do the right thing for our kids, should that happen. Thanks.
Okay, and I just had a question regarding the projects that popped up for the next few years and the comment letters that we have submitted to the county. It's not only the county that we're fighting against, isn't it? It's because of the property, some of them are in the county property. However, there's some in Fontana and some in Rialto. So now we're dealing with the cities also with the same issues. Yes. Thank you. And also just on the size of the school, we have 20 acres, correct, Owen? But it doesn't take 28 acres to build a state-of-the-art elementary school, does it? Is it less than?
Right. The CD they recommend about 10 acres for elementary, so we don't. So that's what the kind of minimum recommendation is for elementary. So we have 20-acre sites. So we're not going to utilize all the sites, but there's certainly plenty of opportunity for us to meet that CD requirement and possibly use a little bit more to create a better. I know a common problem that we have Zimmerman and other adjacent school are bus drop-off queuing area and those things. So we want to make sure, since we have the space, and we want to make sure we can design some amenity and features that will provide a better environment at school for our parents and community.
Okay. Well, thank you for that clarification. Board Member Fuentes.
Yeah, Owen, on that note, I think you said 17 acres is probably what we would use.
Yes, that's on the conceptual plan.
The rectangle that was.
Right, the rectangle portion, that's about 17 acres, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Board Member Haro.
Excuse me. I just want to thank you, Owen, and thank you to both Jeremy and Mr. Terry Tao for your presentation. Some of us board members had seen it already because we were present at the MAC meeting when the presentation was given. And I'm glad that it's very comprehensive. It was a long presentation, but it needed to be to show that, you know, the decision we made wasn't just made overnight. It was it's a very difficult decision. But when we met with, we later met with, some of us met with the teachers when we did a meeting with the teachers, and Owen, you were there to do the presentation, and then we met with some of the parents of Zimmerman teachers, and a lot of the questions that they asked were very thoughtful questions, and ultimately I think where they understood what we were trying to do was that the comments that we made were that Zimmerman is a location, and that we are not changing the heart of the school. The heart of the school is the people in that school, the students and the teachers and the administrators, everyone who works there. And we wanted them to be in a safer environment. When you show that photo and you show those, there's already, I believe it's Pitney Bowes is across the street. And then there's the land next to Pitney Bowes that is going to be developed at some time. It's there. It's just a matter of who's going to build there. That would put them directly across the street from the drop-off area at Zimmerman. And then hearing that our kindergarten students would be where they sit currently at Zimmerman, their classrooms and their separate play area were directly behind where where the trucks would load and unload. It was unacceptable to us as a board to hear of these pollutants. And I believe when you did another presentation, you showed the amount of cancer causing pollutants or whatever you call, I don't know all the technical that she gave us, but that would be emitted to these students and staff was tremendous. And to see that school kind of in a U shape almost, surrounded by warehouses, was just not something that, you know, we could in good conscience say, okay, we're not going to do this. We got to leave this school here. It wasn't something we could do. And I believe, you know, like I said, it wasn't an easy decision. And I know for all of us, it wasn't easy. And we went into it saying, no, we're not going to sell Zimmerman. We're not going to give in. We can't do this. But then when we heard all of those things, and I said, especially the harm it would do to our staff and our students, I think that was what, for most of us, what made the decision. I don't want to say easy to make because it wasn't, but the only decision that we could do and feel like we are protecting our students. If we leave our students there, we're not protecting our students and we're not protecting our staff. And that's what we're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to thank you. I know that you all have worked so hard on all of this and to help us understand all that was involved. And we are, you know, like I said, we are not experts, and that we leave that to you to bring us these experts who look into this. And as a board member, I'm very grateful that we had more than enough information. So I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Member Ibarra.
Thank you. I also like to begin by thanking you for the presentation. It was very well put together. It gave the information I believe that the community needed to hear, and step by step how we, the school district, try to approach this difficult issue of these warehouses starting to move into the Bloomington area. You know, one of the things that we as a board have been struggling with was the fact that dealing with a governing body that appears, in my way of thinking, not to really care about the Bloomington area and the community. And I'm talking about the Board of Supervisors. Because as you take a look at the air quality, they did not hesitate to continue to add to that air quality by bringing in these projects and continue to bring the projects in. And the point I'm trying to make is the fact that by your guidance, your leadership, and what you've been able to help us figure out, at least we were able to send a message to the Board of Supervisors saying that the Colton Joint Unified School District will not back down from them. We really truly believe in the community of Bloomington, their people, their students, the schools that we are in charge to protect. And I think that during the process, whether they wanted to listen or not, I think we send a large message to them that we will not back down. One of the things that bothers me is the fact that apparently there's a lot more projects willing to go in, and that we're going to be probably having to revisit this type of issue and these type of proceedings again. And that's, to me, that's really unfortunate. And one of the things that you brought to our attention and that we knew, but to the attention of the public, is the fact that Colton Joint Unified School District is putting dollars out there that should be going to students to help fight this and help to mitigate this in some way. And it's a shame that there's no avenue that, because of, how should I put it, decisions of others, we're forced to have analysis done from the state. We're forced to have a lot of different things and pay for it. And like my colleague said, you know, this is something that we never anticipated a few years back. We never thought that the Board of Supervisors would put us in this type of situation, but here we are. They did. And for the most part, I will always remember it. I hope the community will always remember these individuals for doing this. But I just want to say thank you to you, gentlemen, for the information, for the guidance that allowed us to make a decision which we struggled with, but ultimately we're hoping it's going to be the best decision for our students. And I liked what my colleague Pat Harrell said. You know, places are where you hang your hat. Home is where you hang your hat. So moving Zimmerman, yeah, we may be moving Zimmerman, well, we're not moving their spirit. And I think that's a big message there. So once again, just want to say thank you. And I'm just going to throw this out there. I'd love to be able to find a way to get the county to pay us back everything that we had to put out to do this. Because if we were able to do that, then it sent them a message that every time they did this, we would do the same. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Owen and Terry and Jeremy, for the presentation. And we really, really appreciate all the information. Thank you. Moving on We have one more administrative presentation, item 5.2, wellness presentation, and this is from Superintendent Dade, Assistant Superintendent Dade, Human Resources Division.
Thank you very much. Under the board's direction and Dr. Miranda's leadership, we have been working extremely hard to create a wellness program that not only impacts positively our students, but staff. And so I'd like to thank our risk and benefits team for all our hard work. And I'd like to introduce to you Mary Dubois, our risk, safety, and benefits manager.
Good evening, Board President Flores, board members, Superintendent Dr. Miranda, Executive Cabinet, the members here this evening and at home. As he mentioned, I'm Mary Dubois. I'm the Risk, Safety, and Benefits Manager, and I am honored to have the opportunity to speak to you about wellness. Is that good? Okay. So wellness, it includes, but it's not limited to, physical and mental health while focusing on exercise, nutrition, and mindfulness. The presentation will cover wellness throughout this school year. And before I get started with the presentation, it is my privilege to introduce the Risk and Benefits team. So I will introduce your name and please stand. So I have Nicole Geiger. She is one of our risk and safety specialists. Giovanna De Leon, she is our secretary. Juanita Battistone, one of our benefits specialists. And Monique Irwin, one of our other benefits specialists. If you could do the next slide, please. And although she's not here tonight, I have another risk and safety specialist. Her name is Jessica Jimenez, and she looks a lot like her Bitmoji. So if you've seen her out there, you've recognized her. And if you haven't, now you will recognize her. So the other thing I would like to do before I move on to the presentation is I would like to take this moment and this time to thank my team for all their hard work, not only for this presentation, their input, but their continued support to me and also to our department. Thank you. So the other thing I wanted to say, if you notice, we are a small team, but we are mighty and we do a lot. So, okay, next slide. The Risk and Benefits Department is very excited to promote wellness. We plan to have wellness seasonal events throughout this year. Some of our events can be anywhere from informational, which would be a communication email that would be sent out district-wide that would include resources. They can be webinar-based. These would be pre-recorded so that our employees can have the opportunity to view these webinars at their leisure and so that it would not interrupt their work schedule. And then also in-person events. Also, the other thing that we do is we provide the same information on our our department website. When available, we upload it to our department Twitter page. We share the information to our benefits advisory committee so that they have the opportunity to share the information with their union members. So we try to share everything outwardly so everyone has the information. The other thing I want to note here is that although we're planning these events, sometimes these events are subject to change, and it has to do with the availability of our resources. Next slide, please. So for our fall events, September is Suicide Prevention Month, and this event is going to be an informational event. We're calling it Mindful Mondays. We'll be sending out a communications email once a week on Monday. For the first week, it's mindful breathing. Mindful breathing teaches us to become aware of our thoughts. The second week is repeat positive affirmations. You know, I'm confident. I'm successful. I'm grateful. Oddly enough, this can boost your overall health. And week 3 is mindful walk. Walking outside improves your mood and it releases stress and manages stress. Those will be our exercises for September. So for October is National Dental Hygiene Month. This will be a webinar-based, pre-recorded. Our vendor for our dental carrier, Delta Dental, will highlight hygiene, and provide dental product discounts. For November, November is American Diabetes Month. This is going to be an in-person event. This is going to be a walk for National Diabetes Day. We would like to have it on the actual day, which is November 14th, but if we're unable to, we'll do it within that week. As far as the location, right now we're looking at either BHS or Grand Terrace High to have that event. The events will be in the early evening. Usually it's between 5:30 and 7:30. We have staff, family, friends in the community that will be invited to the event. Now on to, oh, sorry, does anyone have any questions? Next slide.
Okay, any questions from the board? Okay.
Yep. Okay, we'll move on to the next season, our winter events. So December is Holiday Wellbeing. This is going to be an informational event. A wellness flyer will be sent out. It will focus on healthy eating, recipes, fitness, workouts. For January, it is a new year, a new you. So that is an in-person event. It's going to be our annual resolution walk. This will be held at Colton Middle School. Again, another early evening event, 5:30 to 7. And once again, it's going to be staff, family, friends, and the community that will be invited. And then now on to February. February is another in-person event. This is our annual health fair. This is held at Joe Baca Middle School. It will be between 1 and 5. We will have our health, dental, financial carriers, entertainment vendors that will be invited. We'll have demonstrations. Those are to be determined. Activities. The vendors will provide product information. And as always, we have raffle giveaways and surprises at that event. Any questions? Next slide, please. No? Okay. On off to the next season. So now we have spring events. March is Vision Awareness Month. This is a webinar, again, pre-recorded. The event will include vision awareness tips and promotions from our vision carriers. In April, this event is an in-person event. It is called Carrier Days. This would be new for the district. We want to hold at least either a 2-3 day event. It will be at the Hermosa site. Well, we will invite our carriers, Blue Shield, Kaiser, our Wellness Go 365, our Health Advocate, our EAP carrier, and we'll invite them over so that they have an opportunity to not only promote their products, but be available to answer specific one-on-one questions for our district employees. And then in May is our benefits open enrollment period. That is essentially a web and app-based event. We do allow limited in-person appointments, and those are usually though for our retirees who need help with the actual open enrollment benefit platform, but we do have those days available so that we can service our retirees as well. Any questions? No? Okay. Next, please. And then last but not least, our summer events. June is National Great Outdoors Month. We plan to have an in-person walk. The location is to be determined. It'll either be at BHS or Grand Terrace High School. Again, an early evening event. Staff, family, friends, and the community will be invited again. And again, the time frame will be between 5:30 and 7:30. In July is UV Safety Month. This is going to be an informational event, meaning we will send out a safe this one is going to be a Safety Matters flyer. So we'll have helpful hints on UV safety, heat illness prevention, and anything else that might be going on around that month, we'll promote. And then in August is National Wellness Month. This is a webinar event, pre-recorded again. Our Health Advocate carrier, who is our carrier for our Employee Assistance Program, will be the one doing the webinar, and they will provide an overview of all their services. So I'm not sure who's already familiar with our Employee Assistance Program. Usually the thought is it's usually only for counseling, but they offer so much more. So just to hit on a little bit, emotional support is still there. They have confidential counselors that help employees work through issues that are impacting their life and well-being. The counselors can help address anger, grief, anxiety, job burnout, and mental illness. That's just to list a few. As far as work and life balance, they have specialists that help find resources to better balance work and life and help the employee feel more productive. And the specialists also help locate childcare, elder care, vacation planning, and debt management. And those are just to name a few. There's a lot of other services. Another recent highlighted service is Management Assistance Program. They offer leadership awareness training. They are in-person workshops, but if their staff is not able to attend, they are recorded and then they can be shared afterwards, like a pre-recorded webinar. And then if anyone had the question, services are available to you as the employee, your spouse, dependent children, parents, and parents-in-laws at no cost to you. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay. And so moving on to the next slide. There you go. So I want to leave you with just some few helpful, easy steps for a healthy lifestyle. Get active for at least 30 minutes or more per day. Choose water as a drink. It's at least 8 glasses of water a day. Eat more fruits and vegetables. Spend a few moments a day to be mindful about your actions. Eat fewer snacks and look for healthier alternatives. Turn off the TV, computer, or gadgets and get more active. Practice mindful breathing throughout the day. And one last time, does anyone have any questions?
Questions from the board?
Sure.
Mr. Fuentes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Excuse me. Thank you so much. Wow. What a yearly plan of, if you don't have a plan, there's a plan right here already.
We have that plan for you.
Yeah, so it's ready to go, month to month, what to do, what not to do, and then at the end, easy steps for a healthy lifestyle. Thank you very much. This is great. Before the pandemic, I did the walk.
Great.
And I have a bad ankle. I have a fused ankle, but I still did it. And I felt good about it, even though at night I was in a little pain. But other than that, it's great to do that. It's great to be healthy. It's great to take time for yourself. It's great to do all of these things. And everybody needs to do this. Everybody needs to take some time and be healthy. I did lose about 30 pounds this year, and I continue to lose pounds this year. And these steps are great to do. And if there's anything we can do as a board, let us know. I know that our board president would be ready to assist. If I can assist you in DJing some of these, I have no problem doing that too.
Very nice.
I'd love to do that. And but thank you very much, Mary, for
welcome.
bringing this presentation to us this evening.
Thank you.
Board Member Ibarra.
Okay. Thank you, Bertha. First of all, I just want to say it's a pleasure meeting you, Mary, and your staff.
Thank you.
Really nice to see the faces behind the action. And with that, as you went through fall through September, I mean, you have it really thoughtfully planned out. And the themes meet with the time of the year when they actually occur. So that's great. I think one of the things that we all know, but sometimes we forget, is the fact that, you know, keeping ourselves healthy, getting a little exercise, pulling ourselves away from the extra snacks and the TV can make a world good for each and every one of us. And sometimes we just need a little platform or a little push or a little nudge from someone that we know to get us started. So I just take my hats off to all you ladies for being the catalyst for our district and getting all these people who are thinking about wanting to do it, and now they've got an opportunity to do it. And so like my colleague, Mr. Fuentes said, you know, if there's anything we as a board can help support, let us know, please.
Thank you. We definitely will, and we are definitely there to be your nudge.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I just want to say your presentation was fun, thoughtful, and informative, and you covered everything. You had me wanting to raise my hand and say, sign me up, because there's something for everybody. And I just want to thank your whole department. Nicole, Giovanna, Juanita, and Monique, and I believe you said Jessica, who's not here today, and especially you, Mary, for your encouragement and your enthusiasm. So I know this is going to be successful. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Okay, we're good?
Okay, thank you. Everyone have a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving on, 6.0, we have an action items. Subsequent to the posting of the agenda for this meeting, a need arose for the board to take action immediately. Specifically, resolution number 2311, emergency resolution to approve entering into contract to repair and remediate water damage to the gym floor at Grand Terrace High School. There is a board bylaw that addresses how to handle these types of matters. Board bylaw 9323.2 reads as follows. Action on non-agenda items. After publicly identifying the item, the board may take action on a subject not appearing on the posted meeting agenda under any of the following conditions. Number one, when a majority of the board determines that an emergency situation exists as defined for emergency meetings pursuant to Government Code 54956.5. Number two, when 2/3 of the members present, or if less than 2/3 of the members are present, then by a unanimous vote of all members present, determine that the need to take immediate action came to the district's attention after the agenda was posted. Number three, when an item appeared on the agenda of and was continued from a meeting that occurred not more than 5 days earlier. In this case tonight, option 2 applies. I will therefore entertain a motion from the board to determine that there is a need to take immediate action came to the district's attention after the agenda was posted. Is there a motion? Okay. Okay, and we need a roll call vote.
Board Member Ibarra,
Yes.
Board Member Haro. Yes. Board Member Ojeda.
Yes.
Board Member Fuentes.
Yes.
Board Member Bertha Flores.
Yes. On motion by Board Member Haro and Board Member Fuentes, the board determined that there is a need to take immediate action, which came to the district's attention after the agenda was posted. Now we will take up the issue of resolution number 2311, emergency resolution to approve entering into contracts to repair and remediate water damage to the gym floor at Grand Terrace High School. Is there a motion? Haro? Okay. Oh, Haro, and second. Fuentes?
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes? Okay. I have a motion by Board Member Haro and second by Board Member Fuentes to adopt resolution number 2311, emergency resolution to approve entering into contracts to repair and remediate water damage to the gym floor at Grand Terrace High School. Roll call vote, please, Joanne.
Board Member Ibarra,
Yes.
Board Member Haro.
Yes.
Board Member Ojeda.
Yes.
Board Member Fuentes.
Yes.
Board Member Bertha Flores.
Yes. On motion by Board Member Haro and Board Member Fuentes to adopt resolution number 2311, emergency resolution to approve entering into contract to repair and remediate water damage to the gym floor at Grand Terrace High School. Moving on to items 6.2 through 6.29, I would ask if any items would like to be considered separately. I will ask action items 6.4, 6.5, and 6.6 to be pulled for separate consideration. I need a motion to approve items 6.1 through 6.28 at this time. With the exception of 6.4, 6.5, and 6.6. Okay, moved by Ojeda.
All second.
Second by Haro. Okay. I have a motion by Board Member Thoreen Ojeda and second by Board Member Haro to approve action items 6.2 through 6.29 with the exception of 6.4, 6.5, and 6.6. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Okay. On motion by Board Member Thoreen Ojeda and Board Member Haro and carried on a 5-0 vote. The board approved action items 6.2 through 6.29 with the exception of 6.4, 6.5, and 6.6. Moving on to action item 6.4, approval of third amendment to employment agreement between the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services and the Colton Joint Unified School District. Okay, this is Tina Peterson, Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. And we have her term is from July 2021 through June 30, 2024. Annual salary, 218,675. Annual workday years, 223. And vehicle, district provided vehicle for assistant superintendent use. Fringe benefits, health insurance, same in medical and dental benefits offered to other management employees, sick leave 14 days a year, retiree health benefits. Due to the length of the assistant superintendent's service with the district, assistant superintendents is vested in the district's retiree health benefits program. Okay, I need a motion to approve action item 6.4 as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Board Member Ibarra and second by Board Member Fuentes to approve the third amendment to employment agreement for the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services as presented. Roll call vote, please, Joanne.
Board Member Ibarra,
Yes.
Board Member Haro, Board Member Thoreen Ojeda,
Yes.
Board Member Fuentes,
Yes.
Board Member Bertha Flores.
Yes. On the motion by Board Member Ibarra and Board Member Fuentes, the board approved the third amendment of employment agreement for the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services as presented. Action item 6.5, approval of second amendment to employment agreement between the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources and the Colton Joint Unified School District. Brandon Dade, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources. The term is January 5th, 2022 through June 30th, 2025. Annual salary, 208,138. Annual work year, 223 days. The vehicle, district provided vehicle for assistant superintendent use. Health insurance, the same medical and dental insurance benefits offered to the 12-month certificated management employees. Sick leave, 14 days per year. Okay. I need a motion to approve item 6.5 as presented.
So move.
I'll second.
And second, this. I have a motion by Board Member Ibarra and second by Board Member Fuentes to approve the second amendment to employment agreement for the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources as presented. Roll call vote, please.
Board Member Ibarra,
Yes.
Board Member Haro, Board Member Thoreen Ojeda,
Yes.
Board Member Fuentes,
Yes.
Board Member Bertha Flores.
Yes. On motion by Board Member Ibarra and Board Member Fuentes, the board approved the second amendment to employment agreement for the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources as presented. Item 6.6, approval of second amendment to employment agreement between the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services and the Colton Joint Unified School District, Anthony Ortiz, Assistant Superintendent, Student Services. Term, January 5th, 2022 through June 30th, 2025. Annual salary, $198,109. Annual work year, 223 days. Vehicle provided, district provided vehicle for assistant superintendent's use. Fringe benefits, health insurance, the same medical and dental insurance benefits offered to other 12-month certificated management employees. Sick leave, 14 days per fiscal year. I need a motion to approve item 6.6 as presented.
So moved.
And a second? Okay,
I'll second.
Mr. Fuentes. have a motion by Board Member Thorian Ojeda and second by Board Member Fuentes to approve the second amendment to employment agreement for the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services as presented. Roll call vote, please, Joanne.
Board Member Ibarra,
Yes.
Board Member Horo, Board Member Thorian Ojeda,
Yes.
Board Member Fuentes,
Yes.
Board Member Bertha Flores.
Yes.
Thank you.
On motion by Board Member Thorian Ojeda and Board Member Fuentes, the board approved the second amendment to employment agreement for the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services as presented. We are moving on to 7.0 administrative reports. Are there any questions or comments from board members on these items? Okay. If not, we will move on to item 7.4 facilities. We do not have a facilities update this evening. Item 7.5, ACE update. I would like to invite ACE President Parache to present.
Good evening, esteemed board members, Superintendent Miranda, cabinet members, and members of the audience. My name is Cristina Parache, and I have the privilege to be the Association of Colton Educator President. So the first month of school is done already. Do you guys believe it? Some things are different this year, and with the new start and end day is affecting everyone. The association had to adjust how and when we hold meetings, like the rest of the district. Many of us got used to virtual platforms, and some of us are having a hard time adjusting to having in-person meetings, but we're working on it. The new schedule created some issues at the secondary level, and from the elementary side, I hear good things. My members that used to leave the campus after 4 p.m. at elementary sites are now happy to leave around 2 p.m. However, some high school staff are unhappy with the schedule. And I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. It's just a fact that it's not something that is well received, especially at secondary schools. As most of the sites, except for the continuation schools, went to the minimum day Wednesday, we still have a few hiccups that we are working on, but we can get it done together with the administration. Generally, students are tested at all levels during the first month of school. Moving in September, teacher will be able to focus more on teaching if we start having more subs. So I don't know, Mr. Dade, we need to get the magic wand and start hiring more subs. I know it's hard. Every district has issues with subs, but maybe we can go to the legislature and maybe they can waive the bachelor, and maybe we can start hiring people that have AAs. But that's just an idea. So negotiations is back on track. We are negotiating the 2021-2022 contract language. We finished salaries, but we put on hold the contract language. If the bargaining teams are working as fast as they started, they should be done in 3 meetings, but I am challenging you to be done in 2 meetings. So we can go to 22-23 school year. The association is planning to sunshine at the first meeting in October. First board meeting in October. So we have 2 sunshine, first and second. So my goal is to be done with negotiation for 22-23 by December. I wanted to see Mr. Dade's reaction to that. Congratulations to the new administrators. ACE is looking forward to working with the new administrators. And board members, thank you very much for all your support and willingness to listen and solve problems together with us. Thank you.
Item 7.6, CSEA. We do not have, do we have CSEA presentation? No. Okay. MAC update. No MAC. Okay. ROP update.
No update.
No update. Okay. Moving on to item 8.1, Superintendent's communicate. Dr. Miranda.
Yes, thank you, Board President Flores, board members, members of the audience, executive cabinet. Yes, that's right, Ms. Parache, 1 month of school already in, so it goes by really fast here. So I have to just say that I just want to thank everybody is actually off script for the start of the school year again, and just taking care of our children, so, and our students. So, next slide, please. I want to give a big shout out again to our CJUSD Chats podcast. I mean, this is extremely exciting. The first week and the first podcast was released. So if you follow us on Twitter, you'll be able to hear it. The podcast hosted Lynette White, Jamal Boyce, our CTO and IT director, and Irene Clark, just amazing people. And the podcast just features a series of different, it's going to feature a series of different guest hosts from across the schools and the district, and just to not only highlight people's and tell their, so they can tell the story, but also discuss issues of concern within the Colton Joe Unified School community. So each school is going to be given an opportunity to host an episode and speak on what is important to them. So check out our social media to hear the first podcast. I listened to it. You will not be disappointed because Jamal, Nairi, and Lynette are amazing. And I'll tell you, you just learn about people and learn about their human side. So I am just very pleased that we have this. And I got actually an opportunity to do a podcast too with the team. And so that'll be coming up in a couple of weeks. So please check it out on our the website, and I think it's going to be amazing for all of you. All right, so moving on, Joe Baca Middle School just hosted, and you see the picture there, the 10-year celebration. I really don't like that picture of me though, so I think I have my eyes closed. But you see me there with Supervisor Joe Baca, Congressman Baca's in the middle, with Dr. Scribner and our board president, and of course, Ms. Haro and Mr. Fuentes. So yesterday actually was the event. What a great event. It was a little hot, but still, you know, it was amazing to see all the parents and the community out there. So Joe Baca opened back in 2012, and it's been recognized for many scholarly achievements and programs at the site. So if you didn't know, they have an winning esports program there. They have a great AVID program, and they're also expanding their dual immersion program. So I want to extend a special thank you to our Supervisor Baca for attending, Congressman Baca for also attending, our board members, Dr. Scribner for putting it together, and the team, and for all the people that were there to celebrate 10 years of the school at Joe Baca Middle School. It's an incredible middle school, so we know there's going to be some new things happening there, so we look forward to another 10 years there at Joe Baca Middle School. All right, so one more for tonight. And this is I mentioned this in the past under hashtag CJUSD Cares. I want to again give a shout out or put out that this year I'm doing a Superintendent Student Advisory Council. So a few weeks ago, we released information from my office to form the Student Advisory Council. Again, so the purpose of the Advisory Council is I want students to be able to provide feedback to me, offer solutions, come together. I want to listen to our students at the high school level and find out what are some of the problems and solutions. So we're going to work together on finding solutions. That's what leadership is about. So the council is going to be comprised of 11th and 12th graders just to start. We will be expanding it next year, but for now we're going to start with 11th and 12th graders. And again, our goal this year is to meet several times throughout the school year. I'm going to meet at the different high schools with students. And so we plan on holding our first meeting in mid-October. So I'm extremely excited about that. I've been at the high schools promoting the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. I was yesterday, I was there with at the Pepperbow rather, and I was so excited because I got interviewed by a student, Brandon, who was a journalism student, and I actually invited him to participate in the Student Advisory Council. And so I just want to listen to the students' voices and just work on addressing some of the challenges that they face. We know that students today face so many challenges, and I know that firsthand because I have a teenage son who is going through some of the challenges. So again, just a shout out again to please submit your application, students. This is open to all students. The deadline has been extended to September 15th. And you can find the application on the district website. Lynette White, our communication specialist, is out recruiting students. I know she was today at Grand Terrace High School for the Club Rush Day. So we're looking for students that want to come and join me once a month at least to help me just listen to student voice. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, and that's it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. Okay, we're moving on to board member comments. Board member Thawing Ojeda. Board member Ibarra.
No comment.
Board member Fuentes.
Thank you, Board President. Just wanted to say we had an exciting time yesterday at Joe Baca Middle during their 10th anniversary and their back to school night. It was fun out there. I had parents dancing out there. I had teachers dancing out there. I had the opportunity to DJ the event last night. And even though it was hot, we were having a lot of fun. And I think everyone enjoyed meeting the teachers, especially meeting the staff. That was a key to that anniversary. And I just want to thank Joe Baca Senior and Junior for being there that evening. And also, it looks like, as you can see in the picture that was presented, there was a check given for $2,500 to Joe Baca Middle. So that's exciting too. So I want to thank them. I want to thank Board Member Haro and our Board President for being present also. And it was a fun evening. Also wanted to say I was out at the back to school night for Ruth O'Harris and for Upa Vista when they had their back to school night. It was also a warm night, not as bad as it was last night, but we still had fun out there too. I got to meet a couple of the teachers over at Upa Vista, third grade teachers, and one of the teachers actually had a small stage in his classroom, and he says, I like standing on the stage because the kids really get into it because he's kind of standing up high and he can see the kids. So it was fun to hear the conversations. And also I was out at the Friday night lights at Grand Terrace High School, and they were Grand Terrace High School and Colton High School, the football game. And it was fun to see the teams working hard and fighting hard to get that goal. Even though Colton High School did not win, Grand Terrace High School did win. But you know something, those young men did their best, and I am very proud of them. As I said in my post, I'm very proud of them, and hats off to Colton High School. And that's all I have this evening. Have a great weekend that's coming up. I know it's going to be pretty hot. I know actually Labor Day weekend. Wow, I forgot about that. So we're going to have an additional day. You can stay home and relax. Stay cool, stay hydrated. God bless you. And I see we have our principal from our San Salvador preschool here, and I'll be soon coming out there to check you guys out too. All righty. Have a great evening. Thanks.
Board member Haro.
I just have one comment this evening. I'd like to ask the board if they would close in honor of a teacher we lost from Bloomington High School. Carmen Vega was a teacher at Bloomington High School for 25 years. She retired from the Colton Joint Unified School District in 2020. And sadly, we lost her last night. Her 2 years that she spent retiring, she developed cancer and did not survive. Miss Vega was an amazing teacher. For those of you that know her, she could be very strong and very opinionated, right? Tina, I can see Tina shaking her head. Yes, she was very strong and very opinionated, and some of the kids even thought she was kind of mean. But you know, she was a great Spanish teacher. Kids left her classroom and they knew how to speak Spanish because she made sure of that. And social media is well aware that she passed away because tons of people are writing, students are finding out and writing about the difference that she made in their life. And I just wanted to honor her tonight with closing the meeting. And my quote this evening reminded me of Ms. Vega. And true teachers use themselves as bridges over which they invite their students to cross. Then, having facilitated their crossing, joyfully collapse, encouraging them to create bridges of their own. Thank you, Ms. Vega, for the bridges that you created for so many students. Thank you.
Thank you. I do not have a comment tonight. At this moment, I do want to take a moment and close this meeting in honor of the teacher, our teacher, Carmen Vega, who dedicated 25 years of her life to our students. With that, we will adjourn into closed session to discuss items listed in the closed session agenda. staff, 4, that's teacher adult education, teacher Lewis, at Lewis, physics teacher, Bloomington High School, science teacher, Ruth O'Harris Middle School, classified management, two, child development supervisor, San Salvador, classified HR and analyst, DO Human Resources, classified coaches, 4, varsity cross-country assistant co-ed, pep squad director assistant co-ed, junior varsity football assistant boys, varsity football assistant boys, volunteer coaches, total of 5, basketball girls, cheer co-ed 2, soccer girls, football boys. Volunteers, 6. Item 11.2. In closed session, on a motion of Board Member Haro and second by Board Member Fuentes, and on a 5-0 vote, the board appointed David Bell, Director of Maintenance and Operation. We are adjourning at 9:11. Have a good evening.